Welcome to the channel, everyone. In today's video, we'll be doing a full tutorial of the Charles Schwab trading platform. I'm going to be doing my absolute best to get you guys as comfortable in here as possible, covering all the basics. That'll include everything from creating a watch list to customizing your charts to actually placing trades in here. So as you might expect, there is a lot of information to cover, and this is probably going to end up being a long video. So please feel free to use those timestamps down below if you guys do need to jump ahead to a specific topic. Now, to begin with, in order to actually download this platform to your computer, you will need to log into your Schwab online account. From there, once you're actually logged in, you simply need to find the top toolbar at the top of the screen and then click on the Trade tab. Once you've got Trade selected, you simply need to find the Trading Tools submenu and then click on StreetSmart Edge. Once you've got that page pulled up, you simply need to find and click on the big green download button and then run through the installation setup process. Once you've actually got the platform installed and downloaded to your computer, from now on you're going to see a little StreetSmart Edge icon somewhere on your desktop. In order to access the platform from now on, you simply need to click on that and then type in the same user ID and password that you're used to putting in. Once you're actually finally logged into the platform, you're going to see a screen that looks a whole lot like this. Now, don't worry, I know it's a lot to look at, but we're going to break this entire platform down as simply as possible. First off, we do need to discuss the overall navigation of the tool. Starting at the very top of the platform, you will see your account number listed out there in a little drop-down menu. If you click on that drop-down menu, it'll actually allow you to toggle to other accounts that you may have. So if you had more than one account and you wanted to trade in your other account, this is where you would be able to flip to it. Now in my case, since I don't have multiple accounts, I'm just going to go ahead and click away from that. And now looking just to the right of that, you can see a few stock tickers there showing me basically what the market is doing today. Are stocks up? Are they down for the day? And here in a minute, I'll actually show you how you can throw your own symbols in that list. Right below that top line, you can actually see a breakdown of your account balances information. You can see there that the account I'm looking at is completely empty, but that is where you would find the total value of your account, the net change for the day, as well as your available buying power. If you ever wanted to add additional account info to that section, you simply need to come down to that line and right-click on it. From there, a little window will come up with all of the additional account info that you could add. In my case, let's say we wanted to see the available cash in my account, so I'm going to come down here and add total cash balance. As soon as I click on that, you can see it gets added to this line, and if I ever wanted to delete it, I would simply hover my mouse over it and click on the little X button on the right-hand side of it. Now, if you guys are ever in a public place or just want to hide your overall account balance information, you could always come over here to the far right-hand side and select the Hide Balances button. As soon as you click on that, you'll see that your balance information disappears. If you click on it again, you'll see it reappears. Now, right below the account balance information, you'll also find a couple tools here, like File, Settings, and Help. Really, the only one of those three that you'll ever be using is going to be the Settings menu. So let's go ahead and click on that, and then open up the settings menu, and I'm gonna go ahead and drag it over just so you guys can see it. Now this menu is where you're gonna be able to change a few important platform settings, things like default order quantities, the color scheme of the platform, hotkeys, and a bunch of other stuff. But for right now, one of the main things that you guys may wanna change is the actual color scheme of your platform. To do that, we'll just come down to Display Themes, and then from there, looking to the right, we can see the current theme that I have selected. At the moment, I currently have the dark theme selected, but if I wanted to switch that, I would just click on the toggle here and flip it over to the light theme. If I like this color scheme better, I would simply hit save in the lower right-hand corner, and now my whole platform is gonna be the light theme, the white background. In my case, I'm not a fan of that one, so I'm gonna go ahead and flip it back over to the dark theme. Another setting in here that you guys may want to adjust is the stock tickers that are rolling across the screen at the top. To change those stock tickers, all you have to do is come down here to the title bar display, go ahead and click on that. From there, looking to the right, we can see all of the current stock tickers that I have selected, and there are quite a few in here. If you ever wanted to delete one of these, all you have to do is click on the one you want to get rid of, and then hit the X button on the far right-hand side. If we instead wanted to add a new symbol to this list, we would simply come up here to Add a Symbol, and then type in the symbol we want to add. In my case, you can see there that I typed in MU, and I'm just gonna go ahead and hit enter on the keyboard to lock it in. Now, the last setting that you guys may need to change is the difference between the static mode and the dynamic mode. Static just means that those stickers are gonna sit there, they're not gonna move around, whereas dynamic means it's gonna constantly scroll through that list. Now, moving on from that, the last setting that you guys may need to adjust is your actual order defaults. So if you wanna take a look at your order defaults, come on up here to the Trading tab, third tab at the top. then select the Order Quantity tab on the left-hand side. From there, looking to the right a little bit, we can see my current default order quantities, and at the moment, that is 100 shares and 10 options contracts. If I wanted to change that, like let's say I typically only trade 5 contracts at a time, I'm just gonna highlight that number 10 there and type in 5. Now, anytime I build out an order ticket on stock, it'll default to 100 shares, and anytime I build out an order ticket on an option contract, it'll default to 5 contracts. Now, looking right below that, another cool thing that I've actually only seen available on Schwab's platform is the ability to create a default for a specific stock ticker. So let's say you typically trade 100 shares at a time, but for a stock ticker like Amazon, which trades for over $3,000 a share, you only want to trade 1 share of Amazon at a time typically. So what we could actually do is come down here to the symbol default quantity box and then type in Amazon in the symbol box right here. Once you've got the symbol entered, we can come over here to the shares box, and since I only trade 1 share at a time for Amazon, I'm going to type in 1 here and then hit add on the right hand side. So now, anytime I build out an order ticket for any stock, it'll default to 100, except for Amazon, which will default to only 1 share. Now, once you're actually happy with all these settings that we saved, we'll come down here to the save box in the lower right hand corner to actually lock it in. And now finally, moving off of all that, we can actually dig into the main screen of this platform, which is where you're actually going to be doing everything, where you're going to view charts, place trades, and really anything else you need to do on here. Now, StreetSmart Edge is a bit different than what I'm typically used to, since almost everything on here can be moved around or adjusted. But looking at the very top of the screen here, you will notice a few tabs. Mine are marked Trade, Account, Screen/Research, Chart, and Options. But these are simply different templates that you guys can create and customize to include whatever information that you guys find valuable. The ones that appear automatically are going to be the first 4, whereas the last one marked Options is a layout that I made myself. In order to make your own custom layouts, all you have to do is click on this little plus sign just to the right of your last layout. As soon as you click on that, you're going to see a new tab opens up with the default name of Layout 1. Now, for this first example, let's say you actually wanted to create a layout to view 4 different charts at the same time, while also looking at a watch list of stock tickers and a little breakdown of your account balance information. So since we're going to be adding 4 charts to this layout, or 4 grids, I'm just going to go ahead and name this my 4 grid layout so I can always keep track of what this layout is composed of. Once I'm happy with the name, I'll simply hit enter here, and now I've got a blank slate to work with down below. Now, in order to add my tools, or my charts in this case, I do need to come up here to the Launch Tools menu. As soon as I click on that, you're going to see that all of these tools are broken out into 4 separate sections. The first one there is the Account Monitoring and Trading section. The second one is the Find Opportunities section, and then Research and Analyze. Now, don't worry, I'm going to try and discuss each and every one of these tools in here, but for right now, I'm actually going to come down to the Research and Analyze tab and select the Chart button. As soon as I click on that, you'll see that a chart shows up on my layout now, and I could actually drag and move this thing where I want it and the size that I want it. Now, let's say I'm happy with it right now. I'm just going to quickly go through adding 3 additional charts to this window. So to do that, I do need to come up here to Launch Tools again, come on down to Research and Analyze, and add my charts. And like I said, I'm just going to quickly do that for the other 3. All right, now that I'm happy with that, the next thing I want to add is a watch list. So I'm going to come up here to Launch Tools. I'm going to look in the exact same section as before, Research and Analyze, and then find the Watch List tab. As soon as I click on that, you can see a watch list appears, and just like before, I'm going to drag and drop that thing exactly where I want it. Now that I've got the watch list the way that I like it, I'm going to add the account info last. So that's going to be the account and monitoring section, and then account details, the very first tab here. Now that I've got that added, I simply need to move it over just like all of the other examples and get it fit in here exactly the way I want to see it. And again, this section is going to give me a breakdown of what is going on in my account right now. Open orders, my current positions, and any alerts that I currently have active. But that's it. You can now see that I've got this new layout set up with 4 charts right here of Disney currently, as well as a watch list and my account details down below. But you guys can customize these layouts however you want, whatever information you guys want to see, and you can create as many as you want. Now, since these 4 up here are the default, the ones that you're probably going to be using most often, I will dig into these in just a couple minutes to make sure you guys know how to read them and understand them. But for right now, let's actually go over how to create and customize a watch list once you have it over here on the side panel. Now at the moment, you can see that the name for this watch list is currently Watchlist 1. If you wanted to rename this watch list, you could simply right click on it, then come down here in the list and click on Rename Watchlist 1. Once you do that, you can see it gets highlighted in blue. And for this one, let's say we wanted to create a tech companies and for some reason healthcare companies watch list. So I'm gonna go ahead and name this tech/healthcare and hit enter to lock in the new name. Now, the next thing I need to do is actually start adding some symbols to this watch list. So I'm gonna come up here to the add a symbol box. And let's say I wanted to add Apple, Microsoft, and we'll say Facebook, FB. Now, those are my 3 tech companies that I want in this watch list. So what I'm actually gonna do is come over here to add a group. This is another cool feature that I don't think is available in other platforms. So as soon as I click on that, it asks me the name of this group. In this case, this is gonna be my tech companies group. Just name it Tech Comp and hit add here. Now what I'm gonna do is actually drag all of these stock tickers into that tech companies watch list here. There we go. So now you can see Apple, Microsoft, and Facebook are in this group. And let's next actually create our healthcare group. So go ahead and type in healthcare next and add this group as well. Now what I need to do is actually add a few healthcare companies. I'm gonna go ahead and add, let's say Pfizer, PFE, and AbbVie, ABBV. And there you go. You can now see that I've got 3 companies in my tech companies watch list, as well as 2 healthcare companies in the healthcare section. So this really is a cool way to kind of organize your watch list a little bit, maybe have an easier way of navigating around here. Now, besides creating groups, you guys may also want to adjust the column headers up here at the top, basically the information that's being displayed about each of these stock tickers. So in order to change that, we simply need to come up here to the Actions menu in the upper right-hand corner. From there, you're going to look towards the bottom and find the Column and Settings menu. As soon as you click on that, you're going to see a menu come up, which is where we can see all of our current columns on the right-hand side, as well as all the columns we could add on the left-hand side. Now, for this example, let's actually get rid of a few of these columns. I'm going to get rid of the number column, the news column, the description column, and I'm instead going to add a few of my own. I'm going to add PE as well as, let's say, the ex-dividend date. Now over here on the right, I can actually see the new column order and all the new columns that I did add or got rid of. And if I wanted to rearrange those as well, I could actually drag and drop them. So in this case, I'm moving XDiv and PE a little bit up higher. And now that I'm happy with where these new columns are sitting, I'm just gonna come down here to OK and click on that. And there we go. We can now see that those columns have been adjusted, and I could always tweak it a little bit further. But now I can see the PE for these stocks as well as the upcoming ex-dividend date. Now from this watch list, I also have the ability to simply double click on the stock ticker that I wanted to look at. So in this case, I'm looking at a bunch of Disney charts over here on the left. But if I were to come over here and double click on Apple, you'll see that all 4 of my charts changed to Apple. Now the reason all 4 of them are changing to Apple is because they're all linked to the same color. So let's say, for example, I didn't want these bottom 2 charts to be the exact same stock ticker. I wanted them to instead be looking at Netflix. So what I'm gonna do is actually unlink them. So come down here and unlink each of them. And now if I were to change, let's say this to Microsoft, you'll notice that now my top 2 charts switched to Microsoft when I double clicked on it. But now my bottom 2 watch lists are still Apple, because now they are no longer linked to my watch list. So again, I might not have made that very clear. The linking button is right here. Right now it's kind of like an orange colored link, but if you click on that, you can see all of the different linking options, just to make your life a little bit easier. Now, the final thing I'll mention is you do have the ability to add additional watch lists. You could add really as many as you want to the side of this, and then kind of just toggle in between them if you want to flip in between your multiple different watch lists. But I think that's enough of the watch list. It's nothing too crazy. You simply need to add the symbols you want to add, maybe organize it a little bit, but it's nothing too crazy. Now, moving off of that, let's actually dig into how you guys can actually place equity trades on this platform. So buy and sell stock. There are actually many different ways to do it, and we're just gonna go over 2 different methods. The first is by just looking in the top right-hand corner of your chart and finding this big green trade button. If you were to click on that trade button, it's gonna ask you what you wanna do. Do you wanna buy the stock? Do you wanna sell the stock? Or do you wanna short the stock? In this first example, let's say we wanted to buy some shares of Microsoft. So I'm gonna come up here and click on buy. As soon as I do that, an order ticket pops up to buy us 100 shares of Microsoft with a limit price of $283.73, good for the day. If I wanted to change any of these things, it's incredibly simple. I simply need to highlight the thing I want to change and then type in what I want to change it to. So for this first example, let's say I only wanted to buy 50 shares of Microsoft. Well, I've already got this box highlighted, so I'm just going to go ahead and type in 50 right there. Moving off of that, you also have the ability to change the venue that your order is being routed to, whether it be the smart market or if you want to trade in the pre-market or after hours, you could always flip it right here. The next box is going to be the order type that you're using. Currently, you have a limit order set. Now, for those of you unfamiliar, a limit order simply means you are specifying a price. You are saying, I only want to buy these shares of Microsoft if I can get it for this price or better. So in this example, we're saying we only want to buy these shares of Microsoft if we can get it for $283.73 or lower than that. Let's say you said, I only want to buy these shares of Microsoft if I could get it for $250 or lower. So I could go ahead and type in $250 here. Now, of course, there is no guarantee that this order will ever fill, because there's no guarantee that Microsoft will ever go down to $250 ever again. But this is a way to place a limit order, saying I don't want to buy it unless it goes down to this price. Now, you do have the ability to change the order type if you want to, so you would just do that by clicking on the word limit here. So right there, you can see all of the different order types available to us, whether it be a market order, a stop market order, stop limit, or trailing stop order. Now, the ones you're going to use most frequently are going to be the limit order, market, and stop market order. We already discussed what a limit order is. It simply means we are specifying a price. A market order means we just want to buy those shares immediately and we'll take whatever the current price is. So basically you're saying just get me those shares right away. I'll take whatever it's going for. Just get me those shares. Now the third one there, the stop order, that one is typically used to get you out of the position if things are going against you, if you're losing money. So for example, let's say you already had 50 shares of Microsoft and you said, man, if Microsoft ever goes down to 270, get me out of this thing automatically because I don't want to lose any more money. That would be an example of a stop market order. Now, technically you can use stops to get you into a new position, but generally you're going to be using them to exit your long position. Now, besides that, the other tab that you're going to be using quite frequently is the timing button, which is currently marked as a day order only. Now, a day order is good from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If it does not fill by 4 p.m. Eastern, go ahead and cancel the order. That is what a day order means. Now, if you were to click on that, you will see a couple other order types listed there, like GTC and FOK, which stands for fill or kill. Now, a GTC order means I want this order to get good from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., but every single day until it fills. Good until canceled. FOK or fill or kill basically means I want to fill on this right now or not at all. So if it doesn't fill immediately, just go ahead and cancel it. Now, besides that, right below those more important buttons that you're going to be using, you also have the ability to reinvest the dividends if this company actually pays dividends. Just to the right of that, you can create a bracket order, like an OCO bracket, or one triggers the other, but I'm going to save that for a later video. It's more of an advanced order. And then finally, the last one here is the special conditions window, which honestly you guys should never be using. It's basically for all or none orders. It's like if you wouldn't want a partial fill, you could set it to all or none. But for the most part, you're only going to be using this top line here. Now, once you're actually happy with this order ticket, and remember, we're specifying that we only want to buy 50 shares of Microsoft if it drops down to 250 or lower today, and if that happens, it's going to cost us $12,500. If I actually wanted to place that, I would simply hit the review order button down below, and in this case, it's going to give me a nice little order confirmation, just confirming that I do actually want to do this. In my case, I don't actually want to do this, and I don't even have money in the account to do this anyways, but I'm going to come down here and click on Do Not Place. I'm also going to come up here and click on the little X button saying that I do not want to place this trade, and now I'm back to the same screen as before. Now, the other popular way to do this is with the all-in-one trading tool, and actually I'll just add it to this new layout that we created just to go through it. So come on up here to the Launch Tools, look in the Account Monitoring and Trading section, and click on the All-in-One Trade tool. As soon as I click on this, you'll see a new window pops up, and we'll go ahead and put this right in the center of our screen, and I'll even make it a little bit bigger so we can get a better peek at it. Now, this window does show me a lot of information. Right up at the top, it tells me what my stock is actually doing today. So right there, we can see Microsoft last traded for $283.66. It's down about $2 today, which is a 0.7% move. Right there below, we can also see the current bid and ask. It's open for the day, high of the day, low of the day, and it's volume traded so far today. Right below that, you'll also notice three little tabs over here marked Stock and ETFs, Calls and Puts, and Conditional Orders. Now, if you want to trade stock, you're going to make sure we've got the Stock/ETF button selected. And now down below, this is an order ticket, just like we used previously, to buy or sell shares of stock. Now I know there's a lot more to look at on this one. You've got level 2 data as well as time and sales information down here, but it's basically the exact same process. Right up here, we would simply stipulate what we want to do. So in this case, if we wanted to buy 10 shares of Microsoft, we'll go ahead and click on buy, type in 10. We're going to leave it as a limit order and we're going to specify, I don't know, 270. And that would be it. We're now saying we want to buy 10 shares of Microsoft if it ever drops down to 270 today. Then if we were happy with this and we wanted to submit it, we would simply hit the review order button down below and then send it. But again, it's the exact same process, just a different tool, a different appearance to it. Now, as I mentioned a second ago, in this little all-in-one trading tool, you'll also see market depth, which is basically just your level 2 data on the left-hand side and your time and sales information on the right-hand side. For those of you unfamiliar with what I'm talking about when I say level 2, that is all of the open orders out there to buy and sell Microsoft right now. Whereas over here on the right-hand side, this time and sales information are all of the trades that have actually filled already. So again, open orders over here as level 2 data, filled trades over here as time and sales information. Now you will also have this exact same tool if we come up here to the trade page. So the very first tab up here at the top, you'll notice that that all-in-one trade tool is right here in the upper left-hand corner. It's a little bit smaller than the last one we were looking at, but it's the exact same tool. Now from this tool, you also have the ability to trade options contracts, but me personally, I would create a brand new layout for that rather than using this tiny little window to do it. Now I'm gonna save options trading for a later video because with this platform, it's a little bit complicated and there's a ton of information to go through and customize. So just be on the lookout later on for a video about trading options in here. But I will say just quickly, in order to do that, we would simply click on the options button right here. In this case, it says calls. From there, you have the ability to select the expiration, strike, type, and then put in how many contracts, the price you want to pay, and then submit the order just like before. But like I said, I'm going to save options trading for a separate video because I really want to dig into this thing and show you guys how to create your own custom layouts to trade them in here. Now, moving off of that, let's actually get into the charting aspect of this platform next. Now, right now, I do have a little chart for Microsoft over here on the right, but instead, I want to get a nice big view, so I'm going to come up here to the Charts tab. As soon as I click on the Charts page, you'll see I've got a nice big chart for Microsoft pulled up, and if I look in the upper left-hand corner, I can see the time frame that I currently have selected. So as of right now, we're looking at a 1 year, 1 day chart, meaning this chart goes back one entire year of time. Each candlestick represents one entire day of trading. Now, if you wanted to very quickly change the time frame that you're looking at, basically how far back you're looking, you could always look in the lower left-hand corner of your chart and select one of these icons here. So let's say we wanted to go 10 years back in time, we could go ahead and select 10 years, and now we're looking at a chart for the past 10 years of Microsoft. If I wanted to go back to a yearly chart, I could come over here to 1Y, standing for 1 year, and go ahead and click on that. Now I'm back to a 1 year, 1 day chart. If I wanted to change the aggregation period, which is what those candlesticks represent, I could always come over here to the chart menu on the far right-hand side, and let's go ahead and expand that, get a better peek at it. And right up here at the top, you can get the type of chart that we're looking at. So in this case, the aggregation is currently daily. If I were to click on that, I have the ability to change that time period. So let's say I wanted to go to a 1 minute chart. So each candlestick represents 1 minute of trading. I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. And now you can see I've got a much more hyper-focused view of Microsoft. At the moment, I'm looking at a 2-day, 1 minute chart. So this chart looks back the 2 past trading days, and each one of these green and red candles represents 1 minute of trading. Now, you also have the ability to have multiple different chart types. If you come up here to the top left-hand corner and click on this little plus sign, you could then make this, let's say, your yearly chart, this one your minute chart, and maybe drag and move them around, and then you could just quickly toggle between them if you set them up the way that you like them. Now, staying on this one for a minute, remember this was the 2-day, 1 minute chart. If we come over here to the settings menu on the right-hand side, you'll see that there are a lot of things that we could change about this chart. First off, you'll see here the overall style of the chart. Currently, I have candlestick chart selected, but if I click on that, you'll see there are a few different options available to you. If you wanted to flip it to a bar chart, you could. If you wanted to flip it to a line chart, if you wanted to flip it to a mountain chart, really whatever it is that you wanted to look at, this is where you could change the actual chart type. Now below that, you can add actual chart overlays. So like, let's say I wanted to compare Microsoft to the overall S&P 500. I could always click inside this box. And in this case, I'm gonna type in the ETF for the S&P, SPY, and hit enter. And now I've got the S&P 500 overlaying my chart down here, or the S&P 500 ETF. If I wanted to get rid of that, I would simply right click on that line and say remove. Then I just need to come over here and hit OK, and then that overlay will disappear. The next box down over here in the settings menu is the extra periods. It's basically how much space you want to the right of this chart. So let's come over here and add a few expansion areas just so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. You can see that I'm giving a whole lot more space to the right-hand side of the chart. That's all that this is. Right below that, you have the ability to use your drawing tools. So these are all the different drawing tools you could use: support line, resistance line, and then obviously your trend line. But to use those, you simply need to click on the one you want to use. So let's say we wanted to draw our resistance line. We'll go ahead and click on that. From here, I can actually change the appearance of the support and resistance lines. In my case, I'm going to leave it as a solid line. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker though. And I'm going to change it to a white line, let's say. Now when I come over here to the chart, you'll see that I've got a pencil icon now instead of a cursor. And if I wanted to draw the resistance, let's say I just wanted to draw it right here, I'm just going to click right there. Now let's say I wanted to draw the support line next. I could always come over here to support line. I'm going to make this one a green line. And I'm going to come down to, I don't know, where I think support is and click there. And now I've got my support and my resistance on my chart. If you ever want to get rid of those, you simply need to right click on the line itself and then say remove. I'm going to go ahead and do that to the support line as well, get rid of both of them. And then once I'm done drawing, I'm simply going to come over here and click on the exit draw mode to get rid of that. Now, right below the drawing tools is the studies menu. So this is where we could actually add the studies to our chart. That could be moving averages, MACD, RSI, really whatever it is that you want to see. In my case, let's say I wanted to add the simple moving average lines. So what I'm going to do is come down here to where it says add a study, and I'm going to type in the word moving average. Right down there below, we can see the simple moving average. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that and then hit add down on the right-hand side. From there, you're going to see a little menu comes up where we can actually change the overall appearance of this line and how it's calculated. So for me, I wanted to add the 50 and the 200 moving average. Now, the first one's going to be the 50. So I'm going to come over here and make the 50 moving average more of like a teal color. I'm also going to make it a little bit thicker just so I can see it a little bit better. And the last thing I need to do is actually make sure instead of being the 20 period moving average, I'm going to make that the 50 period moving average. Once I'm happy with that, I'm simply going to hit OK down here. And now you're going to see the 50 period moving average appears on my chart. Next up, I do need to add the 200 moving average as well. So I'm going to come up here once again to the add study box and type in moving average again. I'm going to click on the simple moving average box again. And just like before, when I hit add, a little menu is going to come up. This time for the 200-day moving average, I'm going to come over here and make it more of a goldish color. And then I need to change it from the 20 period moving average to the 200 period. And now that I'm happy with that, I'm simply going to hit OK. And now on my chart, I've got the 200 versus the 50 moving average. But adding any other study is the exact same process. You simply need to come over here to the studies box, type in the name of the study you want to add, like I just typed in RSI, click on it, then hit add, and then maybe adjust some things the way that it looks. But then once you hit OK, it will appear on your chart. But you'll see here, adding studies is not too tricky. You'll get the hang of it pretty quick. Now, moving off of that, one of the other things that you guys may want to change is the overall color scheme of the chart page. In my case, you'll notice that my chart has more of like a light gray background rather than that really dark black color. And the way that I changed that was by coming down here to the colors menu. And then I came to the very first one here that said chart background. This is where you could really change it to whatever you want, whatever color background you wanted to use, whatever works best for you. In my case, I'm keeping it very simple, just making it more of like a dark gray color. Now you'll see there below, you can actually change the color scheme of everything on here. So like I said before, there is a ton of customization available on this platform. And it will take a little bit of practice to get the hang of it because everything on here can be changed. But that's really the basics of actually charting on here. It's just going to take some practice to get the hang of it. Now, like I said, I did want to break down these 4 default layouts that you see up here at the top. So let's go ahead and click on the Trade tab first and go through this for just a second. First off, in the top left-hand corner here, you're going to have the all-in-one trade tool. So remember, this is one place that you can come to place your trades. You can also see the level 2 data as well as the time and sales information right down here below. Right below that, you're going to see some news articles that have come out recently about Microsoft in this case. So these are just news articles. Right below that is a little briefing about the technology sector, basically just some highlighted information that you might find useful. To the right of that is a chart just like what we went over before. You could always customize this thing, tweak things, maybe change the background color, add studies, however you want this thing to look, but it's exactly the same as what we went over on the charts page. Right below that is a little dialog box showing me my current account details. So what working orders do I have? What alerts have I set? What are my current positions? Just a breakdown of what is going on in my account right now. To the right of that, you can see all of the messages that I've been sent recently, whether it have been messages from Schwab or recent trading activity. That is my message center. Now finally, the last tab on here is just a very simple watch list, and currently I've got the Dow Jones 30 selected right here. So these are all the companies in the Dow. Now you'll also notice that each one of these little gadgets are all linked together. You'll see that they all have that orange coloring next to them, which means if I change one, they're all going to change to match. So for example, if I come over here to my watch list and I double click on Apple up here, you'll see that my chart changed to Apple, my all-in-one trade tool changed to Apple, and now I'm only seeing news articles that mention Apple. So I personally would leave all of these tools linked, but maybe if you have multiple different monitors with different tools, you probably will have them linked to different colors. Now moving on to the second tab, the account tab, this is just your default layout to view kind of what's going on in your account right now. Right here in the top left-hand corner, you'll be able to see a better breakdown of your account info, like your balances information. To the right of that is just another little watch list where we could throw in symbols of companies we want to keep track of. Another little breakdown of your account details below here, and another chart on the right-hand side, and another trading window, so you could place trades from this screen as well. The next one up there is the Screen/Research tab, and this is where you can create a custom screener. You can create a scan basically to find companies that you would want to trade. This is where you can also research companies, maybe get a breakdown of their fundamentals, their past earnings announcements, just get a nice little look at what those companies are doing lately. Now, this is another one that I'm going to save for a later video because we could really go in depth on creating custom scans in here, but for right now, you're probably not going to use this one that much. The next one is the Charts tab, which we already discussed. Right here, you get a nice big chart layout, a big chart of the company that you want to keep track of. You could, of course, add another chart here if you wanted to, and you could, again, customize any of these windows to really tweak things to only show you things that matter to you. And remember, to do that, your launch tool is always up here in the upper right-hand corner, and this is where you can see all of the additional gadgets that you might want to add. Now, the last one that we didn't talk about was my options tab. Like I told you before, I'm going to save this for a separate video, and I'm going to try and go really in depth on how to trade options in this platform and customizing a layout which will really make sense for you options traders out there. But I know that was a lot of information and I spoke very fast in a very short amount of time, so I'm sure many of you guys are still lost, but I promise you that's completely normal. There's a lot to go through in here, but with a little bit of practice, you guys will get the hang of it. Hopefully you guys at least walk away feeling a little bit more confident or comfortable using this platform, but feel free to message me any suggestions for future video topics or any questions you guys want me to expand on in here. But that's gonna be it for today. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.